Now, hello and welcome to another episode of DrawBomb. We're going. Oh, we're going all right. Oh, you didn't? All right. Well, we'll have to work out that kink, but at least things I believe are working. Other than that, we had some issues last week, but I believe this week things are working. And Live and Den, I see you're there. Thanks for joining us. If you could so kindly let us know if you're noticing any technical difficulties, we appreciate that. But yeah, welcome back to another episode. Exactly, yeah. Thank you for specifying. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't clear enough. I think it's 87. We nothing about last week counted. We got about this far and then we're like, and then we turned it off. So we're gonna try not to do that this week. That you expect from this show. Right out the gate, Leviathan Den subscribed again. 11 months. Wow. Wow. I don't know, but we gotta figure out. We should come up with something. Kyle hit a year, I think, and Leviathan Den's about to, and we should thank these people. These fine folks. Yeah. There you go. Alright, that was easy. Boy, this week I've been working a bunch. I've been wow. I've been playing some games. What else? I think that's it. Working and playing, you know? Work hard, play hard. That's my motto that I came up with, and I'm coining that phrase. If you hear anybody else say it, they'll be hearing from my lawyers. I invented it. I'm gonna put it on a t-shirt. Been playing some Minecraft, been playing some Forza Horizon 5, and yeah. Exactly. You finally tamed the robots and now you drive them around. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Nothing too crazy. How about you? You gotta be for that. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the middle of the show. You're on the inner circle. That's awesome. Yeah, it seems like it's pretty solid. It seems like a pretty solid. Well, yeah, the project sounds awesome, but the program seems pretty solid as well from what you've said. That's cool. It's cool how they're... Keep going. No, you keep going. It's cool that they're making things like animation more accessible and you know, I feel like all artists, as technology has gotten better, have kind of feared, like, are they just gonna, like, build a computer that just does our shit and then that's it for us? But it seems like, while that may still happen, a lot of the software is, like, just making animation or all these things more, like, something anybody can do. Or, like, you know, anybody could at least practice at more easily. Yeah, I wasn't trying to say that like you can't, you're not equipped to do that, but I'm just saying like this algorithm helps with it. Right. But ideas are the hard part. Yeah, I agree with you though. That's actually a good point. It says, hold on, it says, say something. So that's a good point that I wasn't able to test with you here yet. Apparently your audio is not working, so I'm gonna work on that. Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you for letting us know, though. Let's see. This was the issues we were having last week, except we got most of it sorted out. hate doing this stuff on air because it's hard to do. Alright. I'm gonna throw up the "we'll be right back" screen, and then you can help me solve this conundrum.
Test, test. 1, 2, 3. There you go. It's all right. I got you.
All right, we're back.
We're
Should
back.
be working now.
Let me know if you can hear me.
Should
I
be
just
audible
tried
now.
to check it.
Thanks for
I
letting
can
us
hear
know.
me,
Sorry about
yeah,
that.
thanks for the heads up.
everyone.
I appreciate it. Okay. Gosh, I should just say all the things I said before again.
Yeah. What have you been up to this past week?
Oh, fucking
so
crap. I don't even fucking care anymore. Let's just talk about Forza, man.
Cars
How's
go
been
vroom, vroom.
Forza? Have you been playing Forza? Is that fun?
Yeah, it's good time. Cars go vroom vroom.
They do. What's your
that's-
favorite car?
Oh, jeez, I don't have a favorite. Yeah, okay, you're audible. The audience hears you and they're thrilled.
They can hear me. What's your
Mercury
favorite
Tempest
car?
says, where the heck did the art go?
Where'd the art go?
My favorite car in Forza.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, truck, probably.
Truck is good car.
I love truck.
Truck go boom. We haven't officially. We have formally sent an invitation to Leviathan Dome to play Forza with us and Mercury Tempest. First of all, long time no see. Second of all, do you like to race cars? Will you race cars with us? You don't have to answer that right away, obviously, but we've been racing.
You do have to answer right away.
Yeah, answer it ASAP, right now, Diddy Mouth. But I've been enjoying it. I fucking suck at racing cars, but I'm a lot better at this game than I was.
I was gonna say, I thought you've been doing pretty good at it.
I've been doing a lot better. Because I practice. I think a large part of the reason I'm a lot better now is because I spent all that time practicing in the crew. I think
You
it
joined
was.
the crew, and
I did join the crew.
it's paid off.
Paid off, and so I've been doing a little bit better in Forza than I did in Forza 4, or which I like to call Forza, but
They
it's still
missed an
tough.
opportunity there, I think.
They really did. They should have just called it like Scriforum. Remember that Scream movie where it was called like Scriforum?
Okay, I understand what you're doing, but you can't just say the word Scriforum to me and expect me to know what you're referencing.
It's Scriforum.
Okay.
Just like what was the other one? There was another one that they had like a terrible number name for. It doesn't matter.
There's some movies that have used the pronunciation as their like play on words. Others just are like, hey, the number 4 kind of looks like an A, and it's like,
yeah,
well, that's confusing.
There's been some where it's just straight up been. Oh God, I remember talking about it when I was writing for that like movie, that website where I was writing the movie stuff for that website. I remember we talked about like terrible implementations of numbers into like titles. And like some of them I don't know. Like first of all, I will say I do appreciate them including the logical next number in the title, because I'm fucking tired of movies or games being like, this is the next Halloween movie. We're calling it Halloween, and it's like, what the fuck?
It's like, how cocky of you to think in a modern day you're making the last Halloween movie. You know they're gonna make 100 more of these. Yeah, over the next 1,000 years.
First of all, you make it harder for anyone who's trying to figure out which Halloween like the group is actually trying to watch.
Right. We've gone down the line of watching Nightmare on Elm Street recently, and we've been very we're like, okay, we got Nightmare on Elm Street 1, we got Nightmare on Elm Street 2, now we got like Dream King, and then we got like New Nightmare, and then we got Nightmare on Elm Street 4, and then Dream Child, and then
there's Nightmare on Elm Street again. And then there's also Nightmare on Elm Street again. It's just in like, yeah.
Undead Fred, which I think is a Nightmare on Elm Street picture. I'm not sure.
Is Undead Fred Nightmare on Elm Street?
No, it is not. It's like
okay. I was gonna say
weird movie.
Is that the one where it's like? I think so. Yeah, it's like a Beetlejuice almost. I feel like
he might be one of those Beetlejuices. I'm not sure. Mercury Tempest says, I also like truck. I would race truck. Oh, I didn't want to mention. I got distracted because we were fixing the thing real quick. We'll get back to that. But Leviathan Den earlier asked me how the commission was coming along. I'm working on a DrawBomb themed drawing for Leviathan Den, and it's coming along nicely. I'll send you some updates this week.
Oh hell yeah!
I think you'll like it. It's looking pretty good. So I'll show you what I got going on.
You got the commissions going on.
Mercury Tempest says, I also like truck. I would race truck. There you go.
Well, you should join us. I don't know if you do you have Game Pass? I forget, but they put the new Forza on Game Pass, so we've just been playing the shit out of that.
It's fun.
I've already discovered all the roads. It's a very very good game.
I have not discovered all the roads. Which is your favorite road that you've discovered?
Oh man, the weird thing is they give you road discovery, but they also don't give any of the roads names. Which fair, I'm never gonna learn. I never even learned the names of the roads in like the Grand Theft Auto games after driving on them for like hours and hours. But like still, there are no road names. So I would say my favorite road is the one that it's shaped. It's like it just goes in a circle.
Make a sound that describes what the road is shaped like.
Okay, this is the sound of my car traveling over this road.
Yeah. I know exactly the one you're talking about.
And
it's a good road.
Thank you. I'm a regular Michael Winslow.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just like him.
I'm just like him. I'm so talented.
Whatever what he's doing right now. He's still around. I was just about to say
the same thing.
Well, when I say still around, not like, making stuff.
He's alive.
But I saw him in a commercial recently.
Oh, good for him.
And I bet you can guess how they implemented him into the commercial. He was making sound effects.
He was making sound effects, okay.
That's what he does.
Is he better at sound effects than he was in the 80s? Because he's had all this time to practice.
Wow. I mean, do you get better? He was already.
Yeah.
Once you've reached, how do you get better than perfection?
I mean, just fucking like I mean,
Where's there to go when you're already at the top?
Have you ever listened to like those like evolutions of beatboxers sort of videos where they show like a beatboxer sort of like first hitting the scene and they're going like boom, 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 and then it shows them like 10 years later and they're just making like full dubstep with their mouth.
It's true. I wonder if Michael Winslow can do that.
I almost bet that Michael Winslow could probably beatbox like a pretty damn good beat.
I'm sure he can.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look up Michael Winslow beatbox.
I hope you find something. I hope you find a lot of results. Leviathan Den says everybody remembers Winslow for his movies. Yeah. What really sticks with me is the episode of Reading Rainbow where he narrated a story and did the sound effects for the story.
Did he do that? That's great.
Reading Rainbow? That's pretty great.
Did they have guests? I thought it was always just LeVar Burton reading the things. Did they have guests on? I don't know. That makes sense that they would, right? Like, hey, here's Patrick Stewart showing us that it's so fun to read. Oh yes, I love reading.
He did love reading. If anybody knew anything about him, it was that he loves to read. Yeah, I mean, Michael Winslow, he's in Spaceballs and Police Academy, and then he went on his merry way after collecting those paychecks.
And who can
I wonder if that was
him?
enough for him to live a life without work after that.
I mean, probably not.
Probably not. That was a long time ago. But also, there was like 9 police academies, and he was like one of 2 people that was like in all of them. He was just like, hell yeah! As long as you're making these movies, I will be here to make sound effects in a police costume.
I mean, I'm sure he got paid a decent amount, especially once you hit Police Academy 4, and like, aren't they getting straight to DVD by that point? And so you're probably getting paid. DVD hadn't been existed
yet at that point.
Well, I mean, but like straight to video, straight to VHS, straight to cassette, straight to Super 8, whatever. You know, straight to whatever the fuck.
I don't know. What's the guy been doing?
I don't know. I mean, I put a link in the DrawBomb channel of him beatboxing during the American Beatbox Championships in 2014. I haven't listened to it
you
personally.
Were right. Like, there it is.
I mean, it kind of all runs in the same. Like, I've seen, like, I'm not saying I'm a beatbox, like, fan or anything like that. Like, I think beatboxing is cool. I think it's also the most annoying thing you can do with your mouth if, like, you're around people and they don't want you to fucking beatbox right now. The worst thing you can do is, like, start beatboxing.
The only place where beatboxing is like invited and like like people are happy to hear you do it is like a beatbox like
competition.
Everywhere else it's like, shut up. Why are you doing that? Please don't.
Either a beatbox competition or a radio interview about how you're a good beatboxer. Otherwise, like, no one wants it. Like, but like I used to pay attention to some beatboxers, and one of them was called Beardy Man. He was like a British guy or something like that. And like he would show off like his beatboxing skills, and then he'd be like, also sometimes I'd just like be like, oh, what should I do? I'm gonna have some fun with the concept. So he like said like, what if that was me cutting up the puppy dog with a chainsaw? And then he like with his mouth did like a puppy dog getting like chainsawed essentially. And he was very good sounding. He was very good. I mean, you didn't hear like meat getting like rended from bone or anything like that. It was mostly just a puppy dog going like, arr! And then like a sort of thing. But he nailed it. I mean, he was very good at it. So I think if you can beatbox, at least if you're like an effective beatboxer with good mouth sounds, you're probably able to do some Michael Winslowing. I think those two schools of thought. Or
where do you get hired? Who's
I don't know.
Paying you to do that?
So I don't know what, but I know. So like the Beardy Man guy, I did actually see his name like over 10 years later in the credits of that Netflix TV show, The Characters, where it's all like every episode is like one episode is Lauren Lapkus just doing a bunch of sketches with different characters. One's the really hilarious Tim Robinson episode that's like an extra episode of I Think You Should Leave. But he was actually the musical coordinator or whatever on that show. I saw his name in the credits and I was like, fucking Beardy Man. So yeah, he got work like setting up the actual soundtracks for TV shows. So I guess something musical
about like sound.
Yeah, like.
You know, he does sound work that's not just him going like at a party like, hey, look, I can make that one song that everyone likes, except not as good.
Yeah. No, he's got actual skills, but I'm assuming like if you beatbox, like you have to know something about rhythm, melody, harmony, all that sort of stuff. I'm assuming you have to be, if you're making your nut off of beatboxing, you're probably somewhat musically inclined. But I will say, like, I've been in like rap freestyle ciphers with people, and like we've been like, hey, stop beatboxing. We'll put a beat on. It's that's just how it goes.
Nobody wants it.
It's really hard to draw bowls, by the way. Did you know that?
I did. Yours is it's I like it, but he's like twisting. He's scaring me. His eyes.
I couldn't find a very good screenshot of a bull doing that, like from that angle at least.
Right.
Where the bull's
I know what you mean.
in the air like that.
You know, I think the message gets across. He's a little bit longer
He's a long boy.
than your average bull.
Did you ever read any? I don't know why I'm saying. Did you ever? I was basically about to ask. Did you ever read this exact short story I read in like school? But no, you probably did not. But I remember reading this short story in school this one time about like a raging bull that like everyone thought was like the meanest bull in the world. And so they're like, we're going to put that bull down. No one can ride it. And so like this one cowboy who's like hot, new in town and hot to trot, he's just like, give me a second with this bull. And then he like walks in the pen and the bull's like, brrr. And then he just like takes his spurs off and then like pets the bull on the head. And then it just lets him ride it. And I always thought that was a nice story.
But isn't the whole... That is a nice story. I like that.
It is a nice story.
Before I get negative here. But isn't the whole...
Go for it.
The only entertainment in bull riding are bulls that don't want to be ridden.
Right, actually, you know what? Maybe it wasn't a bull, but maybe it was like a fucking
Like a
bronco,
horse
and I just...
or something?
Yeah, I think it might have been a shitty horse, now that I think about it.
Okay.
Well,
'Cause
shit, that
I was gonna
completely
say-
ruins my whole train of thought. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Bulls, yeah, they're just like... Poor bulls have been like... Turned
Stabbed.
into like entertainment. Well, yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But fortunately, it's not too popular here. But
No, I could never watch a bull
no,
fight. I
not
just,
interested in that.
No, God, no.
And like, does the bull ever win?
I think the bull wins if it kills the guy. But they also don't want the person to die because obviously that's
Right.
a whole thing. So I
like,
think
what's
like
the,
if
it's
the
not what kind of sport is this if like, you know, the bull just loses every time?
I think if the bull is about to like win, they basically like tranquilize it and then send the bull back to wherever. I don't know. I don't know enough about bull riding or bull fighting to.
I'm
tell
sure we
you.
have some big bullfighting aficionados in our chat.
Is Ernest Hemingway in the chat? Can he talk to us about both the Spanish Civil War and also bull riding? That would be great.
But rodeos are a weird thing. I went to one when I was a kid, and it's not that I'm a big fan of rodeos or any of my family was, but I remember my mom won a ticket on the radio, and so we're like, I guess we're going to a rodeo. And it's just like a bunch of animals basically just being like
Suffering.
fucked with.
Yeah.
Like, watch how fast we can tie up these baby cows' legs. The cows are
remember-
they're like trying to get away, and then they just like whoop, they just tie them up, and they're like fuck, and that's the end of that one. And then like all the bull riding is like bulls being like, get the fuck off me, no.
Yeah.
And then like, wow, he's really pissed off now. Woo, let's see how long we can piss him off. So that's bull riding, and then that's mostly it.
Yeah. I went to a rodeo apparently when I was like very little, so young I don't remember any of it. I think it was like a similar situation where we got tickets on the radios and shit like that. But parents took us-
I like to think that everyone in the audience at a rodeo is there
Yeah.
because they won tickets. Nobody paid to be there.
Or like I feel like it's like their first time like they get the tickets off the radio, so it's like the radio is just like a weird drug dealer trying to get somebody like hooked on
Yeah.
like rodeos or something like that. Like, don't you want to see animals getting tied up? But I was so young, I don't remember any of it. And apparently, according to my parents, the only thing that they remember from it is like me crying because they were tying up all the baby cows, and I was like, wee. Which fair. I mean, I feel bad for those baby cows because they were just like tied up, and then they're probably just there going like, well, I guess I'm probably gonna die now.
Yeah, they're not. They're not in on
the
it.
joke. No.
They don't know that they get untied at the end.
Yeah.
They're fully expecting this is the end.
Yeah.
But
this seems rude.
It does. You kind of root for the bulls at a certain point.
Yeah. Especially if the guy's got a sword. Like, sure, the bull's got horns, but like, the bull's horns are made of like my teeth, and then like the sword is made of like metal.
Leviathan Dunn says, "You had a good sense of moral compass at a young age. Good for you." There you go.
And, you know, I feel like it doesn't take a lot to be a young child and see like an animal get hurt and then be like, I don't like that. I feel like that's not. It's not.
Unless your parents are like. Unless your parents are encouraging you to be like psyched about animals getting hurt.
True, I guess it is very much
like. I think it's
like
pretty natural. I think empathy is. I don't know if empathy is natural or taught or a little of both.
I think empathy is natural, but you can teach somebody like what parameters you set on empathy, and then that's what affects you for the rest of your life. Like,
yeah,
who are you empathetic for and why?
Leviathan Dunn also says he sent a link that we'll have to watch later. Of
probably beatboxing.
Yeah, beatboxing. I think I'm just trying to skim through because we missed a little bit. Trung Bao, I think he says his name is. He says he's incredible and he's requiring that we watch it, so he's giving us some homework. The stuff he can do is absolutely insane. I will check that out. I remember as a kid, like being like, even with like dial-up internet where you have to like wait 30 minutes to watch a video, we watched a lot of beatboxing videos. We were very impressed as children.
Yeah,
I remember. I wouldn't be impressed now. I'm just saying it was a thing.
Yeah, I remember being pretty like into like watching beatboxing videos and all that stuff like younger. Like nowadays, if I see beatboxing, I'm just like, cool. I don't know. It just it doesn't hit the same. Yeah. Doesn't hit the same for me anymore as it used to. Fair. But like it's like a cool skill to have, and like you will catch me like sitting around going like if I'm like chilling or something like that. And a lot of times if I'm making music, I'll beatbox like the drum beat or something like that first, and then record that so I can sort of recreate it. But yeah, I don't know. Otherwise, like just pick up a fucking guitar and let me hear you play that. I actually don't. I don't want to even hear people play guitar unless they're very good at it. I don't know.
Yeah. We're just surrounded by people who can do stuff, so.
Yeah, I guess so. Or like people who can like both do stuff and people who can like barely do stuff. And
yeah, there's a lot of that too.
The former, and the latter.
Yeah, I'll beatbox around the house, but I'm not. Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm great. Don't need to put it on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I'm never gonna put it on.
Leviathan Dunn says this dude's next level. I thought the same thing until I heard this guy. All right, I will check it out then, for sure. I'm running out of room, but I wanted to draw a bull tying up a clown.
That's hilarious. I would totally. We could always make space. If you want, I can move this barrel.
No, you keep your barrel there. I'm gonna move this bowl. That's what I'm gonna do.
I like these DrawBomb clowns. It's funny. I like us taking the DrawBomb character and like putting other shit on them. Kind of fun.
It's kind of the normal opening segment.
I know. What the hell? We should people. Do you know we do this?
Just before the show started, I popped open Halo Infinite to try it for one round.
I was gonna start downloading the multiplayer, because here's the thing. What? Tell me your whole sentence that you're going. I hate being cut off, so I don't want to do the same to you. Tell us the whole thing.
Sorry that I cut you off nonstop on the show. It's kind of
Hey,
all
look, I blame the latency that goes on Discord. When we've talked in person, we do a lot less cutting each other off. It's 100% the internet. Because, like, I think what happens is, and then we'll go back to talking about Halo Infinite. I'm sorry I'm tangenting right now, but
No, go ahead.
excuse me. What happens is there's like a human period of time where if there's silence or like a lull in the conversation, feels like the natural point to jump in because you have your in. You know, like a lot of conversation is waiting for what's the appropriate time to respond. There's a lot of listening, ideally, too, obviously, but you're also sort of waiting for, like, what's a good moment for me to jump in where I'm not cutting this person off. And I feel like for humans, there's, like, a set amount of time where, like, that makes sense. But also, with Discord, like, when we reach that point of, like, us feeling like, oh, now's a good time to jump in, you know, a lot of times that's because the internet is shifting the time. Anyways, the point is the latency makes us cut each other off more often. But anyways, continue talking about Halo. Tell us about it.
So I never had an Xbox.
Not gonna cut you off. Talk about Halo. No cutting you off.
I played.
Not gonna cut you off.
My God! I played a lot of Halo 2 back in the day.
Okay.
I never owned an Xbox, so I played at like cousin's house, but we played a good amount. I was never good at it. I would say I'm still not great at competitive games, but I was never really good at it then. But I did have a lot of fun playing it. So I popped this on, only played for probably 10 minutes, and feels like Halo online.
Hey, look at that.
Feels like. So people who are very, very like nostalgic for it, I have a little bit, but not as much as some people. It feels correct. Although maybe I'm not the right person to judge it. Maybe somebody who played it a lot would be more so.
I remember seeing a video when Halo Infinite was first announced, and it was like some guy watching like the reveal trailer, like of actual gameplay and stuff like that, not like the one that everyone sort of shit on. And like he's like talking, he's like, "No sprint, please don't sprint." And then they showed like the person you can press a button like sprint in the game, and then the guy's like, "No!" And it's just like, why do you give a shit if there is or isn't sprinting in the game?
Was there not sprinting in the original?
No, I guess they didn't add sprinting in until like ODST or Halo 4 or something like well after Call of Duty had sort of been on the scene, and like Call of Duty sort of is what made sprinting like as a mechanic sort of in vogue, I want to say. So Halo eventually added sprinting to it, and that's when people started complaining that it was Halo of Duty or something like that because people can't. You know, as soon as you have, it's purists or whatever, but like, I don't know, like if there's sprinting in the game, like great, I can move around faster. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, once again, I never played it enough to maybe be the guy to have an opinion on whether that, but sprinting seems like something I'd like. Leviathan Den says, are you simping for Halo beach apps? I don't think so. I never played a lot of Halo. I played a little bit with my cousin, but I remember the multiplayer being fun then. I feel like I'm better at competitive games now than I was back then, but still not by a wide margin.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It just in like the 10 minutes I played it felt like the box. It felt like a newer version of what I remembered of it, I guess. That's what I'd say. So I think that's a good review as far as... I think most people, if you're making a remake, like... Not a remake, but a sequel this long after, I imagine people want the game to resemble what they know and love.
Right.
And it at least checks the boxes of what I remember of it.
Is it fun?
It seems fun, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, then there you go.
I enjoyed what I played.
If I were running like a game review website, I would have like a score for like, is it fun? It's fun. It's not fun, and I think that would be a big.
That should be important. Like, you could even be like, this game sucks, and then at the end be like, is it fun? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably do it like not exactly how IGN used to have a system where it would be like a number that's an aggregate of like these different categories like gameplay, graphics, sound, etc. And I feel like that's a little bit excessive. Like maybe I would have it like, is it fun? Yes or no. Is it good to look at? Or like graphics. Yeah, look at it. Or no, you shouldn't. Or some, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
there are fun games that are ugly.
Yeah, fun games that are ugly, or like fun games that are ugly on purpose, and then the ugliness is like the point. That's also a whole thing. I feel like trying to reduce that stuff to numbers is dumb, because like if someone says like I like that game an 8.5, and you're like, oh man, thought they'd like it a 9. Like I don't know, that just doesn't vibe.
It's all the
me.
thing is it's all
subjective.
Subjective, so you know. What's important to one player might be like, I can't play something if it's not beautiful to look at.
That's Austin. That's Austin. You've just described Austin.
And if you feel that way, I guess it's not wrong. You're probably missing out on a lot of good games, but if you like what you like, ultimately, all video games are just a way to like entertain yourself. So there's no wrong answers.
Yeah, how you enjoy
whether you like the most highly rendered game ever, or you prefer to play Cookie Clicker. Whatever you do with your time, like that's up to you.
Oh man, Cookie Clicker has such great graphics though.
The cookies look so real. I just want to eat them.
I do actually want to eat those cookies. I mean, they're nice chocolate chip looking cookies. Good. Looks fucking good as shit, dude.
Have you played Cookie Clicker?
I mean, I played Cookie Clicker when it first came. Like, do you remember before Cookie Clicker clones? Wow, that's a fucking thing to say. Before Cookie Clicker clones had really come onto the scene.
I remember that that time very well.
Yeah, like I remember when Cookie Clicker came out. God, I remember when Cookie Clicker came out, and I played it for like a while, and I was like, oh, this is a fun game that I just wasted like a month of my life playing constantly, and then I never played another Cookie Clicker again because like I got the experience. Maybe I'd have one on my phone where it'd like add up the numbers while I'm not looking at it, and I could like occasionally like, oh, I'm bored. Let me go check my Cookie Clicker. I think it was like that Adventure Capitalist game or whatever, which is like I think the most successful Cookie Clicker knockoff. Which I've never actually like paid money for it, because why the fuck would you? But anyways, played a lot of Cookie Clicker when it first came out. I guess that's the long story. That's a long story short.
I played my equivalent of like, tapping games, I guess.
Yeah.
On the phone. That's where they get
Cookie Clicker.
Most people wouldn't like sit down on their PlayStation and open up a tapping game.
Right. Yeah.
Some
Or like
might,
Steam.
But I would not. So a phone is where they get you, I think, because you're like in line at the bank or something, and you're just like, well, I'm already doing nothing with my time, so I might as well do a different kind of nothing.
And that way, that's the most time it most makes sense. But like, when I stopped playing Cookie Clicker, they were still adding gameplay mechanics to Cookie Clicker. So like, when I stopped playing, they had just added like an RPG game element to it. Like when you got to the factories, you could send a person down into the mines of the factory, or like the cookie mines, I guess is where like that level. And then like you could actually like. Yeah, in a cookie mine, like you would first do the cookie factory, and then you'd unlock the cookie mines, which gave your cookie factories more cookies. And then eventually you opened up a black hole that led to the inverse grandmas, who all were demonic and cooked cookies. The story is nuts, obviously, because it's about becoming a $1 trillion empire.
It sounds pretty believable.
The thing is, I've seen worse movies with like I've seen movies with worse plots. Yeah. God, true. Malignant, anybody? But anyways. Yeah, Cookie Clicker, they were still at like last I checked, I didn't play it, but Cookie Clicker had like 18 new mini games added to it. Like the guy who made that just kept on adding mechanics to that game so that it's not even like an idle clicker anymore. It's like a 8 full-fledged games inside of like a idle clicker mechanic.
Probably some people that are like, man, Cookie Clicker's changed. I like back when it was just clicking cookies.
Yeah.
Leviathan Dunn says, speaking of gaming stuff, are the rumors true that G4 TV is back on regular TV? I know it's back. I don't know where.
I don't think it's on regular TV. I think it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it might be like an online thing. I'm not sure. I do know that it's back in some capacity. I don't even have regular TV, so I'm not really sure what is on there.
I barely watch regular TV.
I'm not trying to be the guy that's like, I don't own a TV. I watch a lot of TV, but it's like streaming.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, streaming. I don't watch a lot of regular TV. I pretty much do streaming all day.
Yeah.
I know that they were doing like a big thing. I actually applied because they were having like open casting calls. So I sent like a little minute-long video. I didn't expect anything to ever come of it, and lo and behold, nothing ever did. But I made a video.
Not yet. Just wait.
And I remember they actually had like a whole launch party, and then I haven't really heard much after.
Yeah,
so I'm assuming. I think so. I think it's on. Let's Google it. Look it up, Ian. Look it up. We stole that from Comedy Bang Bang just now. Where to watch G4? How do you watch G4? Oh, there's Kevin Pereira.
We're all back.
What to watch? Attack of the Show, X-Play, Boosted, Esports Comedy Series, Ninja Warrior. Oh shit, Ninja Warrior. Oh, that's fun. I love Ninja Warrior.
I used to watch that on G4.
Me too. They were actually, when I was working at a restaurant, they were doing Ninja Warrior in Philadelphia, but I fucking missed it, and I forgot to participate, and I was so bummed out.
That would have been awesome.
Came into work that day, and then they were like, "Wasn't today Ninja Warrior?" And I was just like,
"Is that it? You just show up? You don't have to like apply or?"
I think you obviously have to apply. I think what happened was you were supposed to go to the center to apply and get get checked out, I guess, so you don't die on the show or something like that. Obviously I never showed up, so I never found out about their whole process, but I would have loved to have been on Ninja Warrior. I would have never won, obviously, but
you don't know that.
I wanted to fucking
you don't
do
know
it.
That.
That's true.
You're a physical specimen. I think you could achieve ninja greatness. I've seen you climb a ramp and swing from monkey bars that are suspended way up in the sky. I've seen that.
You see me do that's true. I mean, when I took you to the Franklin Institute, I out-dunked you. Maybe there's some truth to what you're saying here,
I don't
I dunked on you. You got dunked on. Nah, I don't think maybe. I have video of it.
Nah, it's a lie.
I have video of you being dunked on.
Leviathan Dunn says, my fondest memory of G4 TV was sitting at your house and then announcing the American release of Katamari Damacy and both of us freaking out over it. Very wholesome memory that I hold dear, that we both got so much enjoyment out of the news together, and then we loved Katamari, became my favorite game of all time. Yeah, you're also a big fan of those games.
I am a big fan of Katamari. I would never, I don't think that happened because
don't take this one.
I'm sorry, I didn't buy those games till like 3 years after they were out. I just bought them off Amazon on a whim. I don't know what to tell you about that, but they are great games. I do love those fucking games. They still need to release a PC re-release of We Love Katamari, but I did buy the original for PC as soon as it came out, so that was pretty cute. But yeah, that awkward. I don't know what happened. But regardless.
Immediately after the announcement, you slipped on a banana peel and hit your head on the counter.
Hit my head.
You lost a year of memory.
It was just like when Kyle hit his head after we watched MacGruber, and the only thing he remembers from that day is the movie MacGruber.
Oh, well, that's lucky.
Well, he hated the movie, so he was actually bummed out.
I actually do know that.
But it's an awful story, but we were watching him like convulse and bleed on the ground, and we were just like, well, he did want to forget MacGruber. Anyways, I hope this ambulance gets here soon. It's like a weird moment where you're both like watching someone who you love might die, and then you're also in the head you're thinking of something funny. It's a weird moment.
Leviathan Den says you broke his heart.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I really, truly don't know where that memory comes from.
You gotta set the scene. Where were you? When was this?
Were we under a blankie? Was it snowing outside?
The bottom of this.
Did I have a big mug of hot cocoa?
What was the time frame?
I will say one time I was in Philly living in my one apartment. I was still in college, and then a friend from high school who I didn't actually interact with all that much. Kyle actually hung out with him a lot more. But I'd hung out with him every once in a while, and I was like, oh, this is a cool kid, and I think he thought the same. But anyways, he came to Philly, and he's like, yo, I have some friends here. They're visiting Philly. They've never been. I've never been to Philly. Would you be able to show us around a little bit? And I was like, oh, it's about 8 o'clock on a fucking Wednesday. Why the fuck not? So I showed up. I took him to the mall, and then we hung out in the mall. And then while we were there, I bought the PS3 game of Katamari Damacy that had been out. It was like called Katamari Forever, I want to say, but it's like it was like a remix. Like they took a bunch of old levels and then remixed them, and they made this really hilarious like King of All Cosmos robot character. But anyways, so like I buy the game. I'm at the checkout counter, and the guy who's like the friend that is there, he's like, wait, are you just buying a game and you've never played it before? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I love this series. And he's like, okay, it's funny as hell. And then I was like talking to that friend who called me up later on that day after like everyone had headed out and like went home. And I was like, that's an interesting group of people you have there. How do you know them? And he was like, I've never met those people before in my life. And I was just like, what the fuck just happened today then? Who was I just talking to for like an hour and a half? I'm so confused.
That's weird.
Yeah, and I never found out what the situation behind all that was. But what a day. What did I learn?
Feels as if you were scammed somehow.
Yeah, I don't like. I thought he knew them, and then he never knew them, and I was just like, well, how did you end up in this? Like, I know how I ended up in this scenario. How did you end up in this scenario? It was very weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, strange shit. I do remember. Oh, Leviathan Den says it's fine. I'll keep the memory close to me. It means nothing to you. You can keep that memory. If you want a real memory, I do remember playing Final Fantasy X with you, like, and getting to Xanarkand, like, at, like, 2 o'clock in the morning after a family reunion. So, I mean, I remember that memory. That's, like, one of my formative memories of Final Fantasy X. So, you're still in that memory, Leviathan Den. You can take that one with you. That one I know for sure happened.
Perfect.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. See? Maybe you're crossing the wires. Maybe you're remembering playing Final Fantasy X like till 3 o'clock in the morning and getting to Xanarkand. But I swear to God, even at that point, I didn't even have Katamari Damacy. I had bought that game from eBay on a whim, and then I beat it in one day because I sat down and I played it. It's a very short game, but I sat down and I fucking beat it, and I was like, oh my God, I love this game. It says, yo, I remember that. So there you go. Look at that, folks. We still have a nice, lovely memory that Leviathan Den can cherish. After I so cruelly ripped away his heart.
You just took a memory from him. That's a rude thing to do, to steal someone's memory. Throw it away.
I feel like that's like a supervillain thing in like some kind of like fantasy movie. Is like, he's taking our memories. He's not just taking our lives.
I can't remember my child's birth anymore.
Oh my gosh. My mother's name. What's my mother's name?
Barbara? No. Shit! Oh God!
Oh gosh! My wife! Who's my wife? That would be a movie. I feel like that movie exists somewhere, right?
Got you. Someone snags memories.
Yeah, it's gotta exist. That's a movie for sure. Hey, folks in the chat, if you know of a movie that's basically what we just described, let us know. We'll watch it. Oh boy. We've been watching a lot of Red Letter Media, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, that's been the. We tend to have something streaming or like playing something in the background or working on stuff.
Yeah,
and
like
that. Red Letter Media has been the channel of choice lately, which I've always been a big fan of. I've been subscribed to them for years.
I'm a big fan as well. And we were talking before. You were like, if I had to lose every other YouTube channel, I would pick Red Letter Media. And I was like, I don't know, but I kind of thought about it, and I was like, these dudes do release like an hour-and-a-half long video like every week or something like that. Like, yeah. It makes, as far as like if you had to lose every other YouTube channel, like you got good numbers, you got good stats with Red Letter Media at least.
It's a hard call to make. I honestly just think about like the channels that I actually like am checking in often. Like, I watch a lot of YouTube, but it's pretty sporadic and random. And their channel's something I kind of consistently watch a lot of, so I guess that's the reason I said it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got good stuff. I enjoy it.
They got good stuff. I like watching people review movies. I don't know why. Like, especially if it's a movie I've already seen.
Well,
and
yeah,
if it's not
that's
like,
fun.
yeah, it's I don't know, there's something fun about it. There's something fun about being like, I disagree or I agree.
Yeah, it's fun to hear either a differing opinion or to hear why your opinions are validated if they agree with you.
Right. I still disagree with them on which Resident Evil movie is the best.
Yeah, I agree with
But
them.
you
I
know,
disagree with them
whatever.
on a ton of stuff, but I also respect their opinion and agree with a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I didn't send them too many death threats over the Resident Evil review. Just like a couple.
Yeah, just a few. Just the fair amount.
One or two, yeah. The appropriate amount for somebody who's making videos about pop culture, you know?
Yeah, they deserve a few.
If you can think of like, hey, this person just makes movies talking about popular culture, they deserve a death threat, you know? Like, that's what it's come down to.
They said they didn't like that thing that I liked. Well, I'm personally offended now.
I'm going to death threat them.
One death threat coming out.
One death threat. It's so weird that people actually do fucking do that. Like,
it's strange.
It's like I feel the same way about people who do that as the people who like win in League of Legends and then start shit talking you when you've done like nothing in return. It's like, okay, so you don't know what sex feels like. That's what that
sore
tells me.
winners, I think.
Yeah. It's like and like I've been like, yeah, no, that's all I have to say about this. When somebody acts like that, when they send death threats over movie reviews, or they like shit talk in League of Legends when they're beating you, and it's just like you don't have sex. Like, I get it. Like, this is literally all you have going on in your life.
It's an incel breeding ground.
It really is. If you ever want to find a treasure trove of incels, go play League of Legends. And that's not to say ever like the people I play with.
Yeah, there's a lot of great people. A lot of fine, dignified people who play League of Legends, but you know, it's the people who are.
Just such a toxic community. I just can't believe.
I've never played it. I feel like that would make me stop playing pretty quickly because I'm not fantastic at competitive games. So all it takes is somebody to just like shit on me nonstop to the point where it's not fun anymore, and then I might be done.
I don't play it unless I'm playing with like a group of friends, because even having like randos on your own team is god awful. Because like I play jungle in that game a lot, which is as jungle, you basically like cruise around, kill little NPC mobs, and then you have to like jump in and like gank people to kind of help out your lanes. And I've done that, but also sometimes like the people are just stronger and you can't beat them on your own or gank them quite effectively, especially if like the person in that lane is not helping. So like I've played some games by myself, and then all of a sudden there's just like the chat box is filling up with like, dude, come gank, you're so useless. And like if your team is losing, they just shit on you if you're the jungle, and it's just like that alone is so annoying that like you can't exist in that game or like play a single game without somebody yelling at you. It's like, I don't want that. Like, I don't have fucking time for that shit.
Like, I don't get the satisfaction of winning or not being shit on. I get both.
Yeah, because I've lost 12 games in a row. I won one finally last night when I was playing with a couple folks, but like I lost like 12 games in a row, and like none of those games was I having any fun because just like also people in that game are really good. So like when they shit talk you, it's usually because they are beating you. But then again, it's also just like, okay, so like you decided to be shitty after you're winning. Again, you don't know what sex feels like. You are a lonely person who has nothing going for them, so you just trash talk on League because you literally have nothing else going on for you in life. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
There's that realization sometimes when I'm playing a game and I'm just like, this is not fun. Why am I here? Video game. The only reason I should be playing the video game is if I'm having fun. So what am I even doing?
Yeah, the operative word is game. You know.
Right.
But I think it's important to be able to like sort of cut yourself off when it stops being fun. I think that's I think it's good. I think it's healthy.
Well, yeah. Don't play a video game if it's feeling like a job or something. That's weird.
Yeah.
Unless
like
you
it's
are,
fun if
in fact, being paid for it.
Yeah, it's fun if I'm playing with like that group of friends, but I would never play that game without a party of at least 2 or 3 people on my team who I know. But they
Yeah, I
did
haven't
just
tried
come
it.
out with a Netflix show.
Oh yeah, and I've actually heard. I had a buddy that was like, "Hey, you should watch this," and I'm like, "I've never played League," and he's like, "That's fine. You don't need to. It's good, regardless." So I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't said for my. I haven't watched it for myself yet, but that was his review. So
League of Legends is interesting because they keep. It's a game I haven't played till this year, and it's a game that like I play a lot of video games. I've gone through a lot of my life just never having like dipped a toe even into League of Legends. It's free, which means literally anybody could play it. But like if you asked me like, hey, League of Legends, like, do you know anything about it? I'd be like, fuck no. But like having played it now, I've realized like just how inundated with League of Legends, like so much like of the internet or popular culture is with
Oh, really?
League of Legends. Yeah, like if you go on like any art website, you'll probably come across like a fan art for League of Legends without having to click anywhere, because like there's like 500 characters in the game, so like there's plenty of like fodder for artists to draw.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just and like music videos have been like they've been releasing like music and like music videos for League of Legends. Like one of the big things that they used to advertise the TV show was I think it was, I don't know who was the musician. It was like a famous musician. Let me just Google it real quick.
Did you say there were 500 characters?
There's like 200, but
Still,
so I was
a shit ton.
it's a lot. Oh, Imagine Dragons. Yeah, they'd like have a song that they made with Imagine Dragons that they used to advertise the TV show. So they like they put in a lot of work into advertising the game, and I guess it works if you are aware of its existence. But for the longest time, I was just like, what?
I was aware of its existence, but I know nothing about it. That's where I'm
Yeah.
at.
I guess that's how I would phrase it. Like if before this year, if you had asked me like, hey, do you like League of Legends or Dota? I'd be like, wait, those aren't the same game. Because they kind of are the same game.
Yeah, they are. They're similar styles.
But yeah, I otherwise would not have known. I would
Gotcha.
have no idea.
And overall, you kind of enjoy it. You just don't like the community, right?
Hate the community. I like playing with my friends, but I like playing with my it's not my type of game because as you mentioned when we were talking Halo, like competitive multiplayer games aren't really my bag. Like I would much rather do like a co-op campaign with somebody instead of like play the same map for the 500th time and like get shot at and like try and shoot people. Like I don't know. I get bored of that so quickly.
Yeah, that's true for me too. I enjoy it while I enjoy it, but it gets old.
Yeah, like fighting games. Like fighting games I get bored of super quick because a lot of fighting games are like, hey, well, every fighting game is, hey, you're fucking fighting on the same map that you fought on against a character who has the same moves that you've fought like a million times. Like maybe they can switch it up in a different way or something like that, but I don't know. Any fighting games and like multiplayer versus games both have very diminishing returns for me, just because I like playing Left 4 Dead because we're all working together to shoot zombies, to accomplish objectives, etc., etc. But if it's like we're fighting again, I just don't have as much fun with that.
Yeah.
It's not my bag, man.
I feel you. I think maybe I couldn't put my finger on it, but I have felt that way about those types of games myself, and I think that's probably a good reason as to why.
Yeah. I'll play Halo. I mean, I used to play a decent amount of Halo back in the day. I've never owned an Xbox.
Same.
But like when I was in like high school, like Austin, Kyle, guests on the show, friends of the show, they all had Xboxes and would play Halo. So like, you know, we'd all hang out at each other's houses cause when you wanted to hang out with somebody, and they'd be like, let's play Halo. And I'd be like, no. You know, there's 4 people there and 3 of them are playing Halo. Like I'm gonna play Halo because like what else is going on? And so, but like I never really, like I would have much rather have played through the single player campaigns in those games co-op, which you can totally do, but everybody ever just wanted to do the multiplayer, which was not the shit I was interested in. So I don't know, maybe, but I'm gonna download Halo Infinite, play some of it, because why not? Test it out. Maybe I'll have a good time. Who knows?
Yeah. You might not. You might
Or I
hate
might
it.
not though. In which case, I'll uninstall it.
That's a good move.
Got no qualms.
There's something freeing about when you it finally clicks that you're not having fun in the game. You just delete it.
Yeah.
It's just gone from your life for the rest of the time.
There's. I think in general, there's something freeing with uninstalling a game from your computer.
True.
You know? I don't know why. But if you beat it, especially if you beat it, because then you're like,
Well, yeah. Internet's fast enough now that if I'm deleting something because I don't really like it, there's still a chance I might play it again. Try again.
Yeah.
But
exactly. Especially with Game Pass and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
while you're finishing writing that out, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, and then I think this drawing is done.
Sounds good to me. We should really just do a DrawBomb logo we can pop into the canvas at some point. Just make our lives a lot easier.
I 100% agree. I will be right back.
Alrighty. While Brandon's gone, let's do Ian's Sports Corner, I guess. Oh boy. Sports today. What happened in sports is the Olympic Committee decided that frogs are now allowed to participate in the long jump, prompting outcry from fellow athletes. The Olympic Committee also said that if you have sex while you are in the Olympic Village, you are cool. It's an official decree from the Olympic Committee. If you have sex while you are an athlete and you are living in the Olympic Village, you're cool. So that's that. It should also be noted that if you play basketball and you cannot dunk, there will be a test given for everyone, ages 0 through 100. If you play basketball but you can't dunk, you will be wedgied. So just let it be known. Gird your loins, because wedgies will be forthcoming if you are not able to dunk in basketball. Now, they haven't set a regulation for the rim, so potentially you could argue knocking the rim down to about 4 foot, like the bottom setting on a basketball hoop, and then dunking on that. It is very likely that leniency will be granted in some cases, particularly in terms of physical disability and things like that. But just be aware that you will be required to dunk, or else you will be wedgied. Not Olympic. That's just new federal regulation from the NBA, whether you participate or not. If you can't dunk and you go to NBA games, you will be wedgied twice. Hello.
Hello. All right. You ready to save this baby and move on?
Just about. All right. I would say about as good as it's gonna get.
Looks great.
Woo!
All right.
I like the bowl you have tying up the climb. I think that's a good touch.
Thanks. Rodeo Bomb. That's what I'll title this one.
Romeo.
Romeo Bomb.
Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Bomb. So, not to get back on Forza, because I feel like there's not a lot to talk about, because it's just a racing game, which I like racing. I like it, but it's, cars go vroom vroom, you follow the track. But the one thing I wanted to mention is the Forza has a very nice system for designing cars. A lot of features you can do, a lot of things.
Yes.
And we've been wanting to make a DrawBomb car. Originally,
the
we called it the DrawMobile, and then we corrected that to the DrawBomb.
Yeah.
And if any of our viewers play the game, please make a DrawBomb.
Yeah, send it to us. Let us know.
I will drive it around forever.
And we'll be sure to let you know if you want to play in the DrawBomb in Forza. We'll let you know where you can find this amazing livery, or whatever the hell we end up doing with the DrawBomb in that game.
Yeah.
DrawBomb will be forthcoming though. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna be making one. I imagine we'll both make one at some point. But if you're a player of Forza, make a DrawBomb. I will drive it around.
That's right.
I will go vroom vroom in it. It'll be great.
Vroom 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 in your zoom zoom. Just shake your rump.
Shake your rump.
So there is a G4 YouTube channel where they post, looks like clips of the shows. I see an X-Play review they actually have an X-Play review That's 15 minutes long of the new Forza Horizon game. I might actually watch that because I would watch Adam Sessler read fucking ingredient contents of a tin of beans.
Okay. Well, if you're gonna watch that, I can be quiet. Just let me know when it's over.
Yeah. I'll let you guys know how it is. First is an ad. Can't skip it. I have to watch it.
Describe the ad.
Dr. Pepper.
Is it just Dr. Pepper in general, or they have some new variation?
It's like diet or something like that.
Oh. What do they think of the game?
They're still introducing it.
Are you actually watching it?
Yeah, I'm done. Anyways,
Okay.
that's a fun bit. But yeah, so we're doing the DrawBomb meal. I'm gonna look up some pictures of cars so that I can draw some cars.
Okay. Cars are famously difficult to draw, I think, because anything that has nothing organic about it is difficult to draw, because it has to look a specific way or you've made it wrong.
Yeah.
Now, cars can vary quite a bit, obviously, but
Correct.
you know, that's why like bicycles are a really hard one. They don't really vary much. A bicycle looks like a bicycle.
Yeah.
Not everyone could draw a bicycle. In fact, most people couldn't. But they know when they see a bad drawing of a bicycle.
Yeah, I've tried to draw bicycles before. Oh hey, I figured out how to get to my photos I've taken in Forza. I'm just gonna take one of these and use it as a reference.
Perfect.
Yeah, driving, like, I've tried to draw bikes before. It's fucking hard, man. Like, it ain't
I feel like
easy.
I've drawn a good bike a time or two, but references were very much needed, and it took a long time.
Absolutely, because like a bike, it's like, for folks who don't pay attention, a bike is like,
Leviathan Den said, unless you already mentioned this while I was gone, is this new background music? These beats are fantastic. He said that a little bit ago, so I don't know what's playing at the moment, but I don't believe anything's new. But we do have quite a selection, and it's all Ian's handiwork.
I got like a couple more beats I've actually been meaning to upload into a folder to send you just to add to the list, because I figure more music the better.
Yeah, I'll happily add anything you give me. I feel like a lot of times you give me it like 5 minutes before the show, and so I'm like, no. But if I have enough heads up, it's going in there.
I don't want to like send you a folder of beats to add to the DrawBomb thing though until it's like a significant amount, so that you can just like.
Okay. I mean, it's not a lot of trouble. We talk pretty often, so it's not too difficult to just ask if you want me to add some stuff.
That's very true. Yeah, I just I also haven't been making a whole lot of music. Like, I've done more music in the last 2 weeks than I have overall. Most of my music has just been like experiments and things like that. But
that's fun though.
But I haven't made a lot of music lately, but I've made some songs lately. I did a beat battle again recently, and I got second place in it, which is cool.
Oh yeah, I saw you post that on somewhere.
I think I posted on Instagram. That's where I did.
That's probably why.
I think about that.
That's cool.
Thank you. What's annoying to me about Instagram is on SoundCloud there's a function where you can be like, hey, post this to your Instagram story. Instagram stories have a function where you can be like, hey, play this sound over this slide or whatever, and do that. But like, you can't combine the SoundCloud function of sending your song to your stories, and then you can't in your Instagram stories add music over the thing.
Do you not buy the DLC that allows you to have
I guess not.
on Instagram?
Jeez, everything's DLC these days. What the hell?
Sure. Well, they gotta make money somehow. They're just Facebook. They're gonna shut down if people don't pay to use their platform.
Mark Zuckerberg can't afford any more tins of beans.
I'm Mark Zuckerberg. He's a what a
piece of shit. What a fucking asshole who I hate, and also like welcome to Billionaire Shitting on Corner. So Jeff Bezos can suck a dick, and Mark Zuckerberg also can suck a dick.
We can work together on that, right? Because like then they're both they suck each
They can
other's
both
dicks.
take like one side of my dick. Have at it. This is a bike. I drew a bike.
You nailed it.
That's from memory. I didn't look it up. I'm pretty sure that's what they
that's
like.
pretty awesome. I bet you I could do it maybe from memory if I really like took my time.
It's not easy. Like I've drawn like I forget why. There was like a project where I actually drew a couple bikes. And so I kind of got a little used to it from doing that, but it's not fucking easy either way. Like I still need to use reference. I think if you practice drawing something enough, you eventually develop your own visual shorthand for something, so it doesn't have to necessarily look incredibly realistic, but it looks like the thing enough. But it's hard, like you really have to draw it enough times to sort of get to that point.
So I'm gonna start with the things I know. There's 2 wheels on these babies. That is a fact.
Only 2? There's 4. You're drawing a bike again. Are we talking bikes?
I thought we were talking bikes. You drew a bike.
I thought we were talking. I thought you were talking car first. Like
whoa,
you were drawing a car.
2 bikes with a house in the middle? Hell yeah.
2 bikes with a little house in the middle? I love that sketch. Oh yeah, they got bikes, or they got motorcycles, and they got a lot more too.
I don't know. Very funny. Fucking bike. You know what? There it is.
Beautiful. Is that what? Are you using reference right now, or is that from memory as well?
That's from memory.
Oh, okay, interesting. Let's look it up, because like you used a different design than I did, but I think your design looks like it makes more sense.
I'm trying to remember. I know. Okay, so I don't have the pedals, but so there's like some. There's obviously the gears and stuff are gonna be like here, but where are they connected to?
So usually it's okay. So interesting. Okay, so with the bikes. So I was actually, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything like that. I was a little closer because, but not necessarily correct. But there's like a weird diamond shape in the middle of a lot of bikes. It's not always a specific diamond.
There's got to be because what's connecting the gears and the pedals? There's got to be something down there.
Yeah, it's like a little. Usually it's like
this is what the people want.
But you know, a lot of times like the shape is different sometimes though. Like sometimes they like it's like how different cars have different shapes and people are like, "Oh, that's a Corvette." Which I can't do.
It's interesting how with bikes, I've always found it interesting that the bike designed for men has a bar real high up, you know, and then where you can like smash up against it, and then the one designed for women doesn't have that. I feel like honestly they probably both should have the lower bar, but like the one on the women's have, unless there's some purpose for the bar being high up that I don't know of.
I can't think of
I'm
one.
sure it doesn't feel good for either sex to smash into that bar, but it's just like it feels even more dangerous.
To crush your nuts on it?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think I think that bar is that way because I could be wrong.
I'll go put a water bottle on it.
I think because like skirts, like
that's gotta be it, right?
Women wear skirts, and I think that's probably like a modesty feature of some kind.
You're probably right, actually. I'm gonna do that thing right now where you've said a thing to me that makes enough sense that I will just accept it as fact. And if this question ever comes up in another conversation, I'll be like, well, the reason they do that, you see, is because of skirts. Even though I have no idea if that's actually true.
I'm glad I could,
in my brain, that is true now. That's my headcanon.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know why they... And, like, the hard part is, like, we had, like, there's these questions, and it's like, how do you properly Google this question? Like, do they put that bar down there because
I bet you a simple Google would get you the answer, actually. Google, I feel like, has spent the past, like, 30 years perfecting understanding dumb people asking questions. Like, it turns, like, nonsense into, like, an actual language so it can give you your results.
but you get specific enough, and then it starts to have problems again. Like I've been I showed you my OBS like streaming layout that I was working on earlier, and like I got it to work then, but for the longest time, that shit was not working. It was like a low opacity, and I couldn't understand why. And when I googled like, hey, why is my image that I have in OBS showing up at like 50% opacity? And there was just like no questions for that, and I don't know if it was because I wasn't using the right Google terms, or if it's just like such a specific scenario that there's just not.
Yeah,
like,
it's rare that if you have an issue, you can't find somebody else who has it. But when you can't, it's like super like frustrating, and like you feel like lost. You're like, well, I guess I'll just die then.
Yeah, I guess
no one else knows how to solve it. I have no like my computer knowledge comes solely from knowing how to find other people's knowledge on Google.
I just
By the way, it is skirts. I just looked it up. So you're correct.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, hilarious.
All right, I'm gonna look up a character prompt. I think.
Go for it. I'm just gonna draw my dude speed racing.
Yeah, go for it. You do that.
What's your least favorite song in the new Forza game?
So my music, I've turned it off now at this point because I've heard them all 100 times.
Fair.
There's one that it's not necessarily like the worst song, but it's just really weird, and every time it plays, I hear it. It's this guy singing about like, "Give me your polish." Do you know that one?
What radio station is that in the game?
I think the rap one, but he's like, "Give me your polish, dabba dabba jay, give me your polish," and I don't know, it's just really weird.
I'll be honest. In that game, I actually haven't listened to the rap radio station yet.
Oh well, I just listened to it solely waiting for like Intergalactic to come on by the Beastie Boys.
Oh, of course.
I know it's in that loop.
Great song. What's interesting? Yeah, actually, that makes me think. Like, you know, I make a lot of beats. I technically I like R&B, I like hip hop, all that stuff. But like when it comes to game soundtracks, that's usually my last radio station I listen to. Because I feel like a lot of video games, like the people who are choosing the music for them, don't like the same kind of like rap music I like.
Yeah, that's very fair.
And I think ideally, obviously, those games try and get like the gamut, you know, try and get like a good good range of them. Like in Saints Row 3, they have like a whole bunch of songs I don't like, but they also have Yonkers by Tyler the Creator, which is in my opinion like one of the best. I mean, it's maybe not one of the best rap songs of all time, but it's a fucking great song. So it's interesting because but like if it's like the dubstep station, or like I listen to the Hospital radio station in Forza a lot, which is like the drums and bass radio station, and that one's got like a lot of cool like chill tracks, but with like the fast drums and like different songs that I think are a lot more enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah.
And like I've like of the rap songs in that game, I've liked Intergalactic Planetary, but like the other ones just aren't, you know, they aren't all my vibe. Although I think they do have Industry Baby by Lil Nas X in there, and that song's pretty damn good too.
I agree. I've kind of overall that station's not really where I spend my time either. I know I said that, but I was there a lot. But the rest of the stuff that plays really isn't that great.
Yeah. I will say I'm actually. Let's talk about something real quick. I'm a little surprised that they did actually put Industry Baby in the game. I'm happy they did, but I'm surprised they did.
Why
just and because of how homoerotic the music video is.
Oh, okay.
That's it. I mean, the thing is, I think the music video is great. I think it's cool as fuck that he's doing that sort of like music video, because I think it's I think the rap genre is, especially like rappers and who are like very famous in that sort of career and genre, are like there's still a lot of homophobia sort of attached to all of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that Lil Nas X, who again started out as like a fucking meme page, has number one become like one of the hottest superstars in like modern rap and stuff like that. But also he's just like, hey, I'm gay. This whole industry is very homophobic, so I'm gonna release like the gayest fucking music video that like anybody has ever released. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, it's fun that he's like just fully like embracing it in every way he can.
Yeah, it's ballsy too, because like I mean, obviously like it's not as dangerous nowadays to be openly gay as it used to be, but I'm sure it's still not the safest like way to live your life, but I'm glad that he's doing it, and I think it's so cool that he's like kind of breaking that barrier down.
Yeah, it's ballsy in a lot of ways. Like, maybe he's not in like physical danger, like at his status and stuff, but like, you know, the genre, it's a good, you know, he runs the risk of maybe being dropped from record labels or not being
exactly,
like, you know, that in that way it's ballsy because it's like, you know, like you said, it's not really as accepted in that genre. So
yeah, so I think it's really cool that Industry Baby is in the new Forza game, because it's sort of like, hey, not only is this like song, does this song have one of the most homoerotic like music video, maybe not the most, I haven't watched a lot of homoerotic music videos, so I can't really make a ranking of it, but certainly in the mainstream I feel like it's one of the most mainstream like explicitly homoerotic music videos. And I think it's cool that not only can he do that, can it become like a hit on the charts, but also like the biggest release from Microsoft this year and like possibly ever, features that song in the soundtrack of like what feels like 10-12 songs or something like that. I think it's really cool that something with all of that sort of stuff attached to it is still being put in games and like making money for Lil Nas X, and I think it's cool. I like that. That's I like that. That's all I can really say about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's cool. I didn't, you know, I'm kind of a old grandpa in the sense that I'm not as self-aware of like new music. You know, I end up catching up to it, but I just like, you know, I didn't know that this song was in the game, but like I know of him as an artist and all that, and like that's awesome. That
I knew about the music video, and I haven't heard the song before hearing it in the new Forza. So, but like I knew of the song, and I'd seen like people like talking about the music video and like seen screenshots of the music video, and then because like the song was very much like when the music video came out, it was very much the discussion of the moment. So I actually hadn't heard the song until I'm the same way. I haven't heard a lot of music. All the music in my iTunes is like shit I downloaded in college, which was like 10 years ago, something like that. Like my newest exposure to new music is when Spotify recommends stuff to me or a friend does.
Yeah.
But I try and keep up a little bit, but I don't know. I got a lot of the stuff that I like listening to that I'm still listening to, so I don't I don't have a lot of reason to go venturing out. Like I'm not like wanting right now. I'm always happy to hear new music, don't get me wrong. I just added on my Spotify like a album somebody made by connecting electrodes to plant leaves, and then they took connected it to like a synthesizer and made music out of that. Can't wait to listen to that sounds like it's going to be really cool. But I'm not like the most hip when it comes to music, but I'm glad that Lil Nas X is fucking making waves, and I'm really happy that he's doing what he's doing. I think it sucks that he has to. I think it'd be cool if Lil Nas X was allowed to just like come out with songs that maybe didn't have to tackle issues that he's dealing with. Like if he could just make some fucking bubblegum pop songs if he wanted to. Like, you know, it's about what he wants, but it sucks having to watch people fight battles well, because a lot of times I'm just like, man, imagine what you could do if you weren't trying to keep people like up with the modern day and age, and like what if you're just making music that you enjoyed instead of trying to like basically like trailblaze like you are, and like do you know what I mean, what I'm trying to say? It's
you know, some people might thrive when they are like I feel like a lot of music in like history has been inspired by something someone's passionate about. So I think sometimes that can like strengthen music, but also at times, if you're so bogged down by like being forced into this niche of like trying to, you know, at least carve a place for you and other artists like you, maybe then you don't get to do the stuff that's just like fun. But hopefully it seems like he's having fun with it. I have to imagine he is making the stuff that's fun to him, and he's not just bogged down in trying to like
I think he's still having a lot of fun with his music. I think what he's making is very personal to him. I think that's cool. I think it's cool that he's allowed to make, it feels weird to say the word allowed, but it's cool that society has at least progressed enough that he's able to make these songs.
I think allowed is a fair word. You try having an artist do what he's doing like 20 years ago, it wouldn't happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Like fucking 20 years ago, like George Michael was getting like his career ruined because he like tried to blow a guy in a bathroom consensually, by the way. All like nowadays your career can get ruined if you like do something sexually with somebody in a predatory or unconsensual way. Back then you could get fucking like your whole career ruined for just consensual sex with like yourself and somebody else of the same sex. So it's weird how it was that. I guess that wasn't 20 years ago. That was like the 80s. So that's like 40 years ago.
That was like 40 years ago.
Yeah, 30 to 40 years because we're not all the way through the 2020s. Anyways, wait.
Yeah.
Because we're talking like mid 80s. Anyway, the point is, I'm glad he's able to do
Michael die?
that.
I think
he did die.
I said when though. I think that was like
2 years ago or something like that, like 3 years ago.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was very recent. It was within the last 5 years for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that actually does ring a bell now that you say it.
Coolest thing about George Michael is after he died, like a whole bunch of stories came out of people being like, yeah, he like donated like a bunch of money to our hospital and asked us to never tell anybody. And like tons of stories came out about George Michael about him doing stuff like that. And I was just like, damn it. We just lost someone who's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. I mean, I always thought George Michael's music was fucking dope. I mean, he made the best Christmas song.
He did. We've talked about that many times on the show.
That's true. But apparently he's also like a cool fucking guy, and I had no reason to think he wasn't, but I had no reason to think he was like as extra cool a fucking guy as he apparently was. And it's a shame. It's a shame that, like, again, his career got ruined for consensual sex with somebody else. But it's also a shame that he died so soon. He was like 53 or something like that. Very young.
I think, yeah, it's too bad that I feel like for a lot of people they don't get to see the fruits of their labor like fully enjoyed because it happens like after their time is done or whatever. But like, obviously people loved George Michael before he died, but
yeah.
And well, but if his career kind of got shut down, that's disappointing. But at least like him being open about who he was probably did a lot of good.
Yeah.
For the industry.
I'm sure.
Yeah. There's something else I was gonna say, but I don't remember. Oh. This is kind of off topic, but we just discussed the best Christmas song. What do you think the worst Christmas song is? We talked about this on the show.
Oof. We may have actually talked about this too.
I have some opinions. I have a pretty clear opinion, and now whenever it comes on, I like Morgan, my fiance, she'll like just like kind of like turn it up and like
hilarious. Troll you with it.
Yeah.
That's funny as hell. I think we have talked about this before, and I think I know what we decided was the worst. We may have talked about this like when we first started this stream, but
it's possible.
I'm just gonna start singing the chorus, and you can feel free to join in. But it goes like simply having wonderful Christmas time. Is that the one?
That's the one.
Yeah, I know you don't like that song. I don't hate it. It's not a great song. It's the worst when it's the Christmas season and you hear it like 80 fucking times. You're just like, damn, man. Paul McCartney really just picked the first synth he could find and then played one chord on it and then made a Christmas song out of it.
Yeah. I know a lot of Christmas songs are dumb and simple, but like it gives me the vibes of like in middle school when we're all forced to write like a Christmas poem and then one kid has to like read it in front of everybody, and like that's about as impressive as it is. And this is Paul McCartney who like can write music if he wants to.
I think that song is less egregious than a lot of Christmas. Like I think one, I'm glad it's secular because that's the kind of Christmas songs I really give a shit about, are the ones where it's like, hey, isn't it a nice season? Who's Jesus? I don't know. Because I'm not religious. I don't give a fuck about religion. So it's a secular Christmas song, which is cool. But it's fine until you have to hear it a whole bunch because it is like one shitty synth chord going like bow wow 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 bow bow wow 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 simply having It's not good. It's fine once. The moment you start to hear it, like I would hear it in the bank all the damn time. Because
And then there's this weird part where it's like, and it gets like all like folks like weird like carnival-y.
yeah.
And then there's parts where like
Right.
the lyrics, posture check from Leviathan Den. Straighten that spine. Says, have a great night. Thanks for the always awesome, or for the awesome stream as always, lads. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a good night. And hydrate. So gotta hydrate.
But it's a bad song.
It's not great.
Feels lazy. You know what song I really don't like
lazy.
also, and maybe there's some context behind it, but there's this one that's like, do they know if it's Christmas time at all? And it's like some weird like,
Oh yeah.
they keep like singing about like, in Africa, the only gift they'll get is like hunger, and like they're just like talking like down about the entire like continent of Africa, about how their lives must be miserable because they don't get to celebrate Christmas.
Aren't they Christian too? That's like basically the song.
Van Pleb says, y'all are Grinches. No, I love Christmas. Don't get me wrong. I'm just talking shit about like a couple of the Christmas songs that I think suck. What do you think?
We did start this by saying that Last Christmas is the best Christmas song. Because it is. It's the only Christmas song I will listen to for a whole day straight and not give a shit, because that song is great, dope, love that song. What were you asking me? You had asked me a question.
I was gonna ask Van Pleb what they think best or worst Christmas song is, and I know that there's a lot of options. That's like if somebody's like, "What's your favorite number?" and you're like, "What?
4.
No, does it matter? There's a million, and they're all similar." Yeah, 4 is pretty good.
It's got 2 different ways to write it.
There's a few numbers like that. You got 2. You can do the swirl, or you can do the one where you got this and you got that.
That's true.
3. Some people do the little pointy, the pointy one, and this one.
Isn't this just the same but looser? Isn't that kind of just like?
It turns into a loop. There's a loop.
All you did was you drew the Taurus logo.
Yeah, this 4 is the same, except this part's leaning. It's just lazy. It's a lazy 4.
That's fair.
Which 4 do you use?
I don't know of anyone who's ever written 4 like that. Like, I only know people who've written 4 like this. What are we gonna call this? Like the field goal posts 4?
Yeah. The reason
I
think ideally the reason that I guess it takes the same amount of time, because the same, but in my head I do this because I think it's faster. But it's not true. It's the same amount of hand motions.
You know, I've written down the numbers a lot because I used to work in the bank. We'd have to fill out a sheet and like write everything down so that we had a record of our transaction we did for somebody. So if something went wrong, we could get ourselves audited, etc., etc. And I spent such a long time writing numbers down that I actually ended up reconfiguring how I write the numbers 6 and 9. Hahaha, sex number. But also, like, I would sometimes be writing 6s and it would just end up looking like this. And I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? And the same with 9s. I'd be like,
9 is my least favorite number to write, and I've campaigned for this before. I've mentioned that it's the worst number to write.
I don't know how I used to write it, but when I like was at some point during work, I just wrote a 9 better. Like, I wasn't thinking about it, and my hand automatically did like writing a 9 differently than I normally write it, but it was better. The 9 looked good, and I was like, oh, that was actually faster. So I've written 9s that way ever. I don't even remember how I used to do 9s, but I don't fuck up 9s anymore.
I like the way 9s look like on a computer, but I would never dare use that in my actual way of writing a 9.
I think I used to do 9s like this, and then sometimes they just end up looking like this. So now I do 9s. I start with the loop, and then I go down.
I will say, 2019 was a very bad year for me. I hated writing those 9s all the time. Least favorite number to write. 2018, though, I will say, I had a good time. I reconfigured my 8s. I used to do just the quick swirl, but then sometimes, you know, half of it gets too small, half of it gets too big. So now
it's hard to get, like,
I just do 2 circles. I do 2 circles now. 2018 changed my ways.
There you go. Look at that. I do think the 2 circles is a better method.
Takes longer.
I think it's longer, and you do risk snowmanning it. You know, you risk.
Yeah, you don't want to snowman it. Like, granted, some people do on purpose. Van Pleb says, I only tune back into mocking songs. I like the Christmas shoes one. I like that. I hate the Christmas shoes one. I like it. Maybe we are Grinches. Have you heard Christmas shoes?
Probably, but it doesn't.
This guy in like a really like cheesy, like grizzly voice, almost like. Sorry that we're just like shitting on the song you just said you liked, but it almost seems like a skit, like on Saturday Night Live, like the way he's singing. He's just like. And he's telling a story. It's a story song about this child that goes into a store on Christmas to buy shoes, and he's buying the shoes. He doesn't have any money. He's in front of the man. The man singing the song is behind him in line, and the kid's trying to buy these shoes. And he explains very passionately to the shop owner, as he doesn't have enough money, that he needs these shoes because his mom is about to pass away, and he wants her to look beautiful for Jesus when she gets to heaven. He's a small child out on Christmas night alone at a shoe store. It's a normal place. When his mother's in the hospital on her deathbed, he's escaped the hospital and he's there by himself at a store. And then the song.
Shoes. We ain't walking.
The rest of the song. Well, no, it's for heaven, Ian. And then the rest of the song is the man explaining how much of a generous person he is, because he then buys the shoes for the kids, and he's like, I knew what I had to do, and he's singing this like fun gravelly voice, and he buys the shoes for the kid, and he just he explains in the song that he's singing about himself, that the thing that he did makes this kid really happy. And made his Christmas good. He
didn't make his Christmas good. The kid's mom still died.
Yeah. Christmas only got worse from that point. I think mom was still with us at the point of buying the shoes.
Also, it kind of sets up a bad picture of heaven, because apparently what this story sets up is that when you die and you go to heaven, if heaven exists, you are in the same clothes you wore when you died. But so you're walking around heaven. Some people are wearing rags. Some people are buck-ass naked. Some people are just wearing their fucking sweatpants and shit like that. But you're walking around heaven in the clothes you died in. And meanwhile, there's fucking angels walking everywhere, wearing robes made of dreams and gold or some shit like that. And it's what is this dichotomy you're building here in heaven? You're already building a caste system by you wear what you died in heaven.
Well, the narrator of the song doesn't insist that the child's correct in his assumption that mom's gonna look beautiful for Jesus. He's just the kid. He's a child. The kid thinks this way.
Dumb fucking kid. With a dying mom. No, that song
on
sounds.
Christmas.
Song sounds Christmassy, I'm sure. You know what that makes me think of? The whole time I was just thinking of For Sale Christmas Shoes Barely Worn. The sad song that you can write in 4 words or something like that. You know the one I'm talking about?
I don't.
I want to say it was an author, but he's just what's the saddest story you can write in 4 words? And the one author was baby shoes, or For Sale baby shoes barely worn or something.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it's the one saddest shortest story. For Sale baby shoes never worn is a 6-word story generally attributed to Ernest Hemingway, although the link to him is unsubstantiated. Basically just trying to be the shortest, saddest story ever written. So that's why I was thinking of Christmas shoes, For Sale Christmas shoes never worn. Just the entire time. Anyways. The claim of Hemingway's authorship originates in an unsubstantiated anecdote about a wager among him and other writers. In a 1991 letter to Canadian humorist John Robert Colombo. Oh my god, he talked to Colombo. Science fiction author Arthur C. Clarke recounts he's, Hemingway, supposed to have won a $10 bet from his fellow writers. They paid up without a word. Here it is. I still can't think of it without crying. For sale, baby shoes never worn. So basically, yeah, Ernest Hemingway wrote that as the supposedly as the
Van
shares.
Pleb says, I mean, babies barely wear shoes because they don't walk and outgrow them right away. So.
Well, they
She
say
just
never
killed
worn,
that.
not. So it's either implied that it's a miscarriage or it's a.
Oh, you said barely one.
I said barely worn, but the actual quote is for sale baby shoes never worn, which means there was either a miscarriage or the baby died in utero or died in some fashion. I think the barely worn is a little like if you set up somehow that the baby wore the shoes and then died as a baby, I think that's sadder. Maybe this is terrible territory for me to wade into. Like, what's sadder, an actual dead baby or a miscarriage where you never get to see the baby? I don't know.
Both are sad.
Both are sad.
Both are sad.
There's no reason to compare. Why compare tragedies? They're both sad. Point is, that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about Christmas shoes.
Well, if you're just tuning in now to DrawBomb, welcome. We're happy to have you here.
We're talking about dead babies.
Oh God.
Wow.
Wow. I'll approve of this message.
Yeah.
So how do we get here?
I was trying to make it a convertible. There we go.
Changing subjects. FanPleb says reading date of births all the time. Field goal post 4 is my favorite. Yeah, well, field goal. That's how we all do it. That's how people in the real world do the 4.
So let's dox myself real quick. My birthday. Well, let's just say it was June 20th. I'm no longer doxing myself because we're trying to write 4s here. Let's say I was born on April 24th, 1994.
Let's just say that.
But we usually shorten that to just 94. This is not my actual birthday. See, I guess the pitchfork is alright, but like, if you have the 4 with the lean side, it kind of starts to look more like the slashies. And I guess it also starts to look like a 9, doesn't it?
I like the look of that leaning 4, but I don't do it that way.
Yeah, I think the leaning 4 is a more graphic design looking 4.
It's a good
but
looking
I feel like
4.
it's a good looking 4.
But I don't do it that way because I don't have the time.
I think you have to write that 4 well, because if you have, say, a 9 and then you have like a shitty like 4, like they can really start to blend together.
It's true.
It's like writing an L, like a lowercase L in a 1. Sometimes it helps to put serifs on those mofos, though. Like I've barely ever put a serif on a 1, but one time I did by accident. Like I put my pen down, the way my hand movement did, I put a serif on the 1, and I was just like, damn, that looks way better.
Some days when I'm feeling fancy, I give a 1 a serif, but
I try to.
Certainly
it's
not
hard.
all the time. It's just if I'm trying to impress someone.
Here I'm gonna write out how I would love to be able to write out my numbers.
You can, Ian.
Without
you can write them
a
however
second
you want.
thought. Gosh, you're right.
You just gotta
And then I
do
have a
it.
question. I have a question to ask you about. I also put a serif on my 7 once, which I really liked the look of. It was like that. Feels unnecessary, but it looked good when it accidentally happened. So let's keep that there.
I have a question for you. Maybe it's the one you're gonna ask me, but
Okay, go for it.
it's
Just ask
7
it.
related.
What's up?
What do you think of people that write their 7s this way?
Oh, there is that
Are
way
they-
of writing a 7, isn't there?
Are they sniffing their own farts, or is it? Do you like it? What do you think?
How do I feel about that? I guess it's better than a 7 that's just an upside down L. I feel like you could easily. I don't know.
I like
feel
that
about
7. I do it sometimes.
I like it. It's not
Once
the
again,
worst.
if I'm trying to my typography or whatever the word, like my handwriting is not super, my penmanship is not like naturally good, very good, but like if I'm like trying to make it look nice, sometimes I try to get fancy. I throw some serifs in there. I cross a 7, maybe. Who knows? If I'm feeling really saucy, I might throw a cross to 0, like a crazy person, you know.
Ooh,
Who knows
like,
what I'm gonna do next? You never know.
Like that. See, I think that's a good 1 through 9 and plus 0.
It's pretty
there.
fun.
I think that's a good.
It's pretty fun. You're adding some nice creativity to it. You're taking this thing, you're making it your own.
Now, I have a question. The question I was going to ask is, without thinking, write a question mark right now, real quick.
Okay.
Just write down a question mark real quick. Okay, interesting. I do it the same. I do it very similar. I basically write a 2 with a dot underneath it, but we're both wrong. I mean, technically, this is a question mark.
I think the one I did underneath is.
That's a much. I like that
much
question
better.
mark. That's a
But
good one. That's
the
like
thing
a.
is-
That's a question mark of like, huh?
But this is me writing fast and like quick.
Yeah.
Like
This is me writing fast.
if
Right?
I'm like being all like careful about it, yeah, I'm gonna shoot for this fella down here.
Now I have one last question for you.
Mark.
The dots in like letters when you
Yeah.
dot your eyes. How do you
Like-
do you just do a dot?
Like say this is an eye here. I do this.
That's funny. I do appreciate the heart eyes.
I usually do an eye dot. Sometimes it ends up being like a swipe if I'm in a hurry.
Oh, like you do like it's like how you can write quarter notes in a musical staff. Like some people write it like this instead of like.
I did it
Yes.
a little bit before this, but the thing I always think of whenever I do it is in Kill Bill when she goes and finds the dude who trained him and makes the swords, Hatari Hanzo or whatever. He
Yeah.
goes up to like the dirty window and he writes Bill, but like he writes it in English, but then when he gets to the eye, he like does like a whoop and it like gives it almost like a little like
It's like
Japanese
when you
feel.
have like those Asian fonts that you
Yeah.
pick in like Microsoft Word that are just like
But it's like a nice fun visual thing that he's like
yeah.
he's fully writing in English, but he kind of gives it a little like Asian.
Because there are a
feel
lot of
to it.
those
Kung
swoops
fu.
in like hiragana and stuff like that. There are a lot of those sorts of. It makes sense.
You were asking me about my dots. How do you dot? What's your
Oh,
dots?
I do
Mine
open
are
circle.
very
actually.
uninteresting. Oh, you do an open circle. Wow.
Yeah, I
When
don't
did I
remember.
guess
I think I started doing that in 6th grade. One time I did it and I was like, oh, I like the way that looks. So I
That
just
seems
started
like a
doing that
popular
from now-
time
so
to
now,
do open circles is 6th grade. But you
What was
continue
that?
doing it. I said 6th grade does feel like a time that somebody would do that, but you continue to.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's like I would do it, and then like I'd write, and then I'd be sure to like do the open circle. And now when I write, like nowadays, I just sometimes it comes out like a dot, but I always do a little like if you zoom in close enough on that one right there, it's an open circle, baby.
Wow.
I write a lot better in hand with a pen than I do on the computer.
Yeah,
It's
me
easier to
too.
write on actual paper.
It's
And I
funny, first-
also this is getting real dumb and specific, but I write better. So if you have like one single piece of paper and you just write on that on your table, it's gonna look all right. But if you ever want the best looking handwriting, you get like a stack underneath that motherfucker and you write on top of that paper on top of a stack, because then when you do that, you don't get any of the texture of the
You don't
surface
get
you're
the
writing
table
on.
texture.
And this is how much I give a shit about
Dude.
this stuff because I've spent
Man,
a lot of
you
my
need to
life.
get yourself a smooth table. What are you doing? You only own bumpy tables? I'm sorry for you, man.
Every table I'm looking at.
I'm
has-
sorry that your life you haven't made it enough that you can afford a smooth table and you only have bumpy tables.
I would love to see your table right now. I'd love for you to show me a picture of the wood grain
It
on
is-
your table.
it is
You're
smoke.
telling me is your table made of sheet metal? Is that what you're telling me right now, or do you have a wood grain sort of
wouldn't know if
texture
your eyes
going
were
on your
closed.
table?
It is a fine sheen, that table.
Oh, is it a fine sheen, that table? Okay. All right, pal. Tell you what. You try drawing on a single piece of paper on your table, okay? And then you draw on a piece of paper that's on top of several other pieces of paper, and then you tell me if you have a wood grain on your desk or not, okay?
You know.
You might actually be doing that right now. I can't.
I don't have any paper. I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, jeez.
But no, you're right.
God,
You're right. That's why sketchbooks are super nice, like
That's true.
paper. Or I do like some nice Bristol paper. Feels real good.
Yeah, Bristol paper's a good feeling paper.
Nice. It's a nice paper.
It's a nice paper. What can I say?
Man, I need to work traditionally some more. It's so fun.
Yeah,
It's funny
well,
how
we
I
did
do all my professional work digitally almost. Like 99%. Like my whole adult life. But
It's cheaper.
still, when I sit down with like a pen on paper, I'm like better. And it's like,
Yeah.
it seems weird that I'm choosing the medium that I'm not as good at. It also seems weird that I have never quite caught up. I feel like at some point I would be like as good or better on digital media. I think I can do more with color and effects and things like that, but
yeah,
as far as my line work goes, it's still better on paper.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes down to like, well, when you're on paper, first of all, you're just writing like. Sorry, I'm just gonna point my camera down a little bit real quick, but you're like writing here, whereas when you're on a computer, you're like writing over here. And don't look at all those beer cans, but you're like writing over here, which is different than writing right here. Like you have more stability. Like writing up here, I'm also counteracting gravity as I'm trying to draw. Now you can obviously, like, if I were to take my screen right now and I were to lie it flat on the table, I could do that, but it also, my desk is not large enough for, like, if I had a smaller Cintiq, I would 100% do that.
Right, that's true. That's probably
I might actually prefer a smaller Cintiq over, like, the fucking monitor.
Yeah.
Like, if I could just
those iPads are pretty popular right now for that reason, I think.
Yeah, I think
That's a
so.
good point.
I'm kind of considering that for like my next monitor setup is like if this Cintiq ever fucking dies or I find a reason to sell it, just going for like the more handheld that I can put on my desk and then having two other monitors that are useful. I think that'd be great.
You'll see, I try to draw on the thing and my arm is so heavy, it's difficult. It just falls.
Ooh.
It falls. I'm trying to draw my heavy arm. It's just dragging the line down. It's you're fighting against
I don't
gravity.
got a water vascular system. I'm not a mollusk.
These are good points.
These are good points.
We've really covered some
think...
interesting topics. How we draw numbers, Christmas songs.
Really went off on a tangent.
We did, but that's good. That's good. People are come here to learn our. That's how you do your fours. This is some like line writer thing. He's going down. Why is he coming down a ramp?
That's an exploding.
The before and after. Gotcha.
There are downhill. There was like a event that Austin and I tried to do earlier today, where it's like a long race, and it's like all racing down a mountain in a very fast car, and the rules are like you are not allowed to brake, and we're like, oh. But as soon as we started playing it, there's like a glitch in Forza where you'll start an event, and then it'll just be like, and 3, 2, 1, go, and it's over. And the race is done. And so like we couldn't actually do the race because it was like glitched or something like that.
Sounds like a fun idea if it works.
Yeah, like racing down a whole ass mountain without being allowed to brake. That sounds fun as hell.
I wish Forza had some realistic like destruction. I think it'd be funny if I like hit a tree and my car just like wrapped around it, and I had to like rewind from that moment.
Yeah, I mean you can set the damage in that game so that it's not just cosmetic, but it actually affects how your car drives. But I'm so shit at that game, I don't want to try that yet.
I want to try it for the sake of fun, but I don't think I'll leave it on.
Yeah, same.
But I wish the cosmetic damage was bigger.
Me too. I wish that, like you said, you can wrap your car around. Maybe you can if you turn it on to like, because like that's the type of damage that would affect your gameplay. Maybe once you turn up the damage difficulty, maybe it gets more impressive. I don't know.
I'll have to check that out. We are coming near the end of the show. Do you have anything you'd like to plug this fine evening?
Well, let me try this again. If everyone can hear me. I'm working on a game. I've been hired to do animations and storyboards for a video game. It's an indie game. It's not like anything big, but we're on Steam now. We got the page put up like a week or two ago. If you want to check out the work in progress, or just kind of, if you want to add it to your wish list on Steam, you're doing me a big favor, because it helps the algorithm for the game, and then more people get to see the game. It's kind of like a stupid exponential sort of effect. But go to Steam, add The Haunting on Howard Hill to your Steam wish list. That just helps us out, and then maybe September of next year the game will be done and we will release it, and if you like it you can buy it and then I benefit if you do that too. But you know,
Ian,
freaking check that out. And then also, do you have anything to plug, Brandon?
I have a question for you first.
Yeah.
Why do so many hauntings happen on hills?
I don't know. I'm curious about the name of the game myself. I'm not the guy making the game. I just do work on it.
Right. But
it looks. It sounds like a
surprising
very
number
fun
of hauntings
sort of, like,
take
the
place on
concepts
hills.
are fun that are being thrown around.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm I'm noticing a common thread here, and I'm pulling it.
I think what it is that, you know how in Star Wars when Anakin had burnt all of his limbs off in the lava, and then Obi-Wan was like, I have the higher ground. I think it's that with ghosts. The ghosts like to have the higher ground.
Okay, that makes sense. I also assume potentially that hill was filled with bodies. You know, maybe it was flat ground, but after burying many, many bodies, there is a slight mound in the earth that they have now.
Like to know?
Well, I'll find out when I play the game. But yeah, I'm gonna add it
Howard Hill
to my wish list right now because
I'm
wishing for it.
Discord.
I'm wishing for this. I'm wishing for this game. I wish I could play it. So.
Yeah, I'll put a link up on the Discord so that other people can.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to plug currently. I've just been working on stuff. We are actually, I guess I could plug this. As I mentioned in the past, we have our shop, Paper Bag, Creative Co. You can find that on Etsy or Instagram. We don't have anything brand new at the moment, but we've started working on like our Christmas line. It was pretty successful last year, so we're gonna try that again. A bunch of ornaments and stuff of that nature, but we're doing some different stuff this year. So keep an eye on that. Follow us if you haven't already, or if you're interested. If you're not interested, well then don't follow it because you will not like what you see. And yeah, that's all I got.
I like it. I like their stuff. I've seen their stuff, and I like it.
Did I send you one last year?
I feel like you sent me something from Paper Bag. I don't remember what, but I feel like you sent me like maybe the stickers of the plants. Maybe
I think I took a shit in a bag and I mailed that to you.
That would be fair. I mean, you're totally allowed to do that. Oh, we had someone just join our server now. I'm named Totoro. Welcome, Totoro. Thank you so much for joining our server. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching the show, apparently. And also thank you to Leviathan Den for subscribing for 11 months. Thank you, Famfleb, awesome, for your lovely commentary in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Mercury Tempest for popping in, saying that he would race truck with us. Miss playing games with you, Mercury Tempest. Call me, I love you. I think that's everybody.
I think that's it. I'll play us out.
Alrighty.
It's playing right now, in case you're wondering.
Which version is it?
Wouldn't you like to know?
This is the Dark Electro one, I believe, like?
Yeah, that's some good latency.
Hell yeah. Well, I've turned on the sound on the stream, so it's like...
I know, but the fact that you can hear it already, like, that was the moment I started it.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's impressive. Wow. That is latency right there. That's pretty good latency. I wonder how fast... Like, if we actually, like, kept an eye on the chat, because a lot of times we just end up talking to each other and drawing stuff. Well, we should end the show. We'll talk about this later.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.